fan. It's time now for the Chris Young Show, brought to you by Golden Chick and Globe Life. For over 125 years, Globe Life has helped protect families when they need it most. Globe Life, make tomorrow better. And here he is, Chris Young, Rangers President of Baseball Operations, with you on your home of the Rangers. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Hey, guys. I'm well. How are you all?
Doing pretty good. So let's start with the trade deadline yesterday. A lot of fans and media felt like if the Rangers weren't going to buy, you should have sold, and you stood pat. So what's your perspective on that idea?
Well, certainly we were open-minded, really kind of understanding what the market may or may not be, and being prepared for a number of different scenarios. And in the end, we determined that the market was not at a point where we felt like it made sense to break up this team at a level that we really could and get equitable return for what we felt like were our players. And given where we were even 5 days ago in the standings, the division being wide open, and the fact that we have, what we believe is guys coming back from the IL combined with a schedule that could set up for us to make a run, we determined that, we were going to stay in this. And, if we have to revisit that in the offseason, we will. But right now, we want to give this team a chance.
Did you feel at any point that ownership maybe didn't want to have the level of financial backing that they've had in recent years?
Ownership did not make any mandates to reduce or to cut. So there wasn't an edict for that. It was just make good baseball decisions, and so that was our marching orders. And certainly we did our best to execute that. We felt like in the Josh Smith trade, we got a reliever that can help us this year. He's controllable. He's has the ability to start, and we feel like, that was a minor upgrade that not only can help us in 2026, but 27 and beyond. The deal we did a few days before for Chase Silseth and Logan O'Hoppe, we felt like a controllable reliever with some upside, who can pitch leverage, has really done well against right-handed pitching. It's an area of right-handed hitting. It's an area of need. And then Logan O'Hoppe, who's a catcher whose career started off with a lot of promise, and he fell on some hard times. And, oftentimes these guys need to change the scenery. But this was a player who was one of the better catchers in the game, his first year in the big leagues. And, we see some things that we think we can help him with, both defensively and with his hitting, that may get him back to a level of player that, that has some upside. So, again, these aren't fun moves in terms of, I think, what the fans expect or want necessarily, but they are moves that do help our future, and we believe help us now as well. And so sometimes just the market doesn't develop the way you want, or the opportunities aren't there, and sometimes the best deals are the deals you don't make.
Now, what more can you tell us about how close you might have been to trading Jacob deGrom?
Yeah, I won't get into the specifics of it, because it's just, there's a number of hypotheticals that come up respective to a lot of players. And so, the Jacob one is out there publicly. And certainly I acknowledge the fact that Jacob deserves a chance to win. And, that conversation in terms of Jacob wanting to be a Texas Ranger and believing that he can win here is certainly appreciated. And I respect the fact that Jacob believes in this team and wants to win, came here to win. And I think it says a lot about what he thinks this team can do the last 2 months. And if he and his teammates feel that way and they perform up to the level that they are capable, I believe those guys, and I support them, and I want to do everything I can to help them win.
CY, I hope I'm hearing this right, though. You were willing to make moves to help the club if you could. You just didn't feel as an organization that the return that you were going to get was worth it. Am I right about that?
In terms of make moves to help the club, we're always willing to make moves to help the club. But
right.
the price,
but the value coming back, maybe the value coming back, or what you were trying to get, wasn't worth that to you guys.
Well, I would characterize it as the cost that we would have to give up in terms of prospects to help our major league team right now. Was not on par with what we felt like was worth it, and we would be compromising to some degree our future and thinning out our system. And then secondly, on the other end of it, we had a number of players that were asked about but the level of return at this point was not such that we felt like was on par with what these players mean to us right now.
When you look back on now how the trade deadline's gone, would you characterize it as a success? Were you able to accomplish what you wanted to, or did things just maybe not materialize as you hoped?
Some of both, and I've been in different markets where things fall your way and you feel great about it, and then it doesn't turn out. Last year, I felt really good about the deadline. I felt like we came away, and by adding Merrill Kelly, that we thought we were in a good spot. And, we turned around and lost, I think, 8 of our next 10 or 10 of our next 12. And it was a little bit deflating, quite frankly. Yeah. This year, it actually reminds me a little bit of 23. The team's in a different spot record-wise, I understand. But I do believe in a lot of the grit and the fight that this team has. And the team had a bad week. But leading into that week, the team was in a really good spot in terms of being in first place in a division that's wide open. And one bad week shouldn't change our thinking. What we did go into this deadline with was the idea that if there are opportunities to improve the club now or in the future, we were going to be open-minded to that. And those just didn't materialize at the level that we thought were significant enough upgrades, whether it's for now or the future. And so you come away and you say, yeah, we didn't do, maybe as much as we had thought we may be able to. That said, keeping this team together with the guys we have returning off the IL and believing that one good week could turn our season or could put us back in first place, that's not inconceivable. And so, we need to go make that happen. And when you hear those words from Jacob deGrom and Nathan Eovaldi and guys speak up and say, we're going to get the job done and we expect to get the job done, that's very powerful. It gives you a lot of conviction that there's some positive things ahead.
Did the trade deadline impact the way the team went out and played last night?
There's no doubt. I've been there as a player. It's an emotional day. There's a lot of rumors out there. Guys are hearing from agents, friends, family members. They're seeing their names out there, and we don't put anybody out there. This is just the way the game is in today's world. And social media, and there's a lot of reports on different things, and there's no doubt that impacts guys when they wonder, in 6 hours, am I going to be here or not? And that's the nature of the game. And in some ways, if you're on the selling side, it may be a little bit easier. The Giants are free, and they're not really, they don't have the pressures that our guys had yesterday. That said, yesterday has come and gone, and it's time to regroup. It's time to reset. It's time to take a breath and come out and play a relaxed, tension-free brand of baseball, and to let our talent take over. And we've seen at points this season when we play our style that we can play with very good teams. We can win, and we can be a good team. But likewise, we've also seen that we get beat by bad teams at times if we don't play up to our capabilities. So now is the point where the team is getting healthy. We feel very good about where we are. The offense has been much better than it was the last couple of years. Our pitching is going to be the healthiest it's been all season long, with the return of Cody Bradford and Jordan Montgomery this week. We should have Jacob Junis back here soon. We'll be getting Jack Leiter back soon after. This sets up to where this team, I believe, could be a team after the deadline that makes a push. And every year there's a team that surprises people. There's probably multiple teams that surprise people. Last year it was Cleveland, the year before Detroit. As San Diego has done this, I expect that to be us.
Well, I appreciate it, CY. It does remind me of September 2023 when the sentiment was down, and then after Game 5 against the Astros, sentiment was down. And I can't wait to see you guys take your shot at surprising the world of baseball once again.
Guys, I appreciate it. That's the optimism that we have. It's the belief I have in this team. And again, I'm excited to see what these next 2 months entail, and I'm hopeful that we can make a push here and have some October baseball.
Take care. There he goes. The Chris Young Show here on 105.3 The Fan, brought to you by Golden Chick and Globe Life. For over 125 years, Globe Life has helped protect families when they need it most. Globe Life, make tomorrow better. Wow, what a whirlwind. Kind of feels like Radio Row, doesn't it?
Yeah.
With all these,
it's like boom, bam.
George to
Wales,
yeah.
Pickens, Mike Sando earlier. Did have Chase Silseth on the show, one of the new relievers back there
fun.
in the 320.
That was a pleasant
good.
surprise.
I think he jumped into the top 5 Rangers to interview immediately.
It's been a good day.
Let me ask you a question about CY real quick. Do you think, I mean, he has so much faith in these guys. Do you think, though, is that ever going to change?
Maybe not publicly.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. And I wanted to ask him a question like, how are you so damn optimistic all the time, and these guys let you down? How is that? I mean, and I didn't want to be that guy.
Yeah, but I think his optimism is shown the light
because he's going to say, hey, I have to. But deep down, maybe if he comes and sees me without the mic in front.
Yeah,
of his
behind
face,
closed doors.
he might say, these MFers are making me sick right now.
Yeah, he was trying to sell.
Yeah,
I think his answer was very nice with the ownership. Because people that I trust, I don't think that ownership was very willing to give a lot of money.
I also think it's part of the job description to just sort of be optimistic until you got to move guys.
Right.
Because you got to work with these guys for the next 2 months and an off season. You wouldn't want to say anything right now that would complicate things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he's always so positive, and maybe it's around us he just has to be. But what point in time do you But he's the one that put this team together.
Yeah.
If you have faith in people and they don't do the job.
Yeah.
Man, I don't blame you. I blame the man that hired you.
Well, to answer your question, I think if they don't make the playoffs, then you're leaning even more towards selling. And maybe in the winter when payrolls get cleared and you have opportunities to talk to guys about adding a $30 million player on their payroll, they could be a little bit more receptive. But, I mean, they at least had something on the burner with Jacob deGrom.
Yeah.
And how positive he's been about Jacob deGrom with us over the years. So, yeah, I think that idea is well on its way to becoming a full-on flower here, before too long. But at least we get a couple of more months of this group of Rangers. And I felt a little bit of spark when he said this is the kind of team that could get healthy and go on a post-deadline run. I'll buy into that. Our training camp coverage brought to you by the on-time experts, AC, Heating, and Plumbing, Mercedes-Benz of Plano, and Best Buy Windows and Siding.